Hi, Anuradha.
Hi, Saurabh. Good
Yeah,
morning.
thanks for the interview, and thanks for your time today. So I've got your CV in front of me, and let's start by discussing about whatever you have done in your career, about your work experience, and then we can start with the interview.
Sure. Okay. So I'm Anuradha. I have worked around 15 years. Okay. Total is a primary skill as a AWS and Python. I have worked. Okay. And I've worked into the around 7 project as of now. Okay. Like starting from a small organization to MNC, actually, I have worked. Okay. So as of now, I have worked for the domain like infrastructure domain, healthcare, mobile, and any like a finance domain. I haven't worked till now. Apart from that, I think almost like retail, mobile infrastructure, everything I have done. And my roles and responsibilities like 70% is the individual contributor and 30% is the team management. So our work is done by sprint basic. So every 2 weeks we have one sprint. We'll be getting multiple tickets which we will be deciding on our backlog grooming calls. And these tickets are including your development, bug fix, any POC, any spike, or any feature development, or any enhancement, improvement. It makes up all actually. So I was also involved into starting from the designing. Also, I have involved and also into the development and few part on the QA actually. We have a dedicated QA, so they will do, but some of the unit testing will also doing us as well. So
Okay,
that's all about me.
sure. Okay. So I see that you have got around 15 plus years of experience, and have you
Yeah,
ever been in a managerial position, managing a team?
I have worked as a lead, but not by a manager.
Okay, all right. Okay. And so from your CV, I can see that you have worked on AWS quite a lot. Also, you mentioned multi-region and high availability solutions.
Yeah.
So, all right. So tell me, in a multi-region AWS architecture, how do you ensure high availability and data consistency across the regions? And also, what are the tools and services configurations that you will use in AWS?
Okay. So for multi regions availability actually, like you have whenever you are creating any VPC and a subnet, you need to create into the different availability zone. So subnet is the main here, which you have to create as a multiple availability zone. Like for example, US is to 1A, 1B when we are doing. So what will happen? It gives like whenever any load balancer, it will send like if any execution is happening on the availability zone 1A, it is busy, then it load balancer will send the request to the 1B actually. So mainly load balancer only will help to balance the load if any whenever the request is coming. So that is the main part. And also regarding the scaling, you need to monitor on the auto scaling how you are doing actually. So whenever any size when any like more request is coming at one shot, so auto scaling will scale up and scale down based on the number of requests coming in one shot.
Okay. How about, can you think of any other services which you can use?
Yeah, we can just think about the any direct connect whenever we have our on premises, and when we are sending any request actually, so it will just send like direct connect will also use for sending the request to the other availability zones as well.
How about how about data replication and synchronization?
For data replications any you are talking about any database how it will do.
Yep. So the question was, how would you ensure high availability and data consistency? So how would
Okay.
you ensure data consistency across multiple regions?
Yeah. So for data consistency, you can just create a multiple target groups, and then the target group will be attached to the load balancer, so that it will help to send the data into the multiple availability zone, and the multiple target group. Actually, target group will be automatically, it will map to the like subnet and the VPCs actually.
Okay. Do you know anything about cross-region read replicas?
Yeah, in the like whenever you are creating any like suppose in you are using DynamoDB, so there, like whenever you are creating like a multi-agent, you can just enable it, so that what will happen, that this read replica and all, it will send the data to the multiple availability zones.
Okay. Coming back to it, can you tell me the difference between a region and a zone?
Region is like, for example, your like us east is one region actually. Zone is actually like us east 1A 1B, when we are giving, so A B are actually different zones.
Okay. All right. Tell me, tell me something about the serverless Lambda functions, and how would you actually scale them? Have you ever designed a serverless application?
Yeah. So Lambda, what it will happen is it provides a platform to use as a serverless. See, serverless is meaning is you are not doing the base setups. This base setup is already created by like provided by AWS actually. So when you are like for example, in Lambda, it provides for multiple like language platforms actually, like Python it provides, Node.js it provides, and also other languages. So suppose you have to run some script, you are not spending time on installing the Python and Python packages. Actually, some basic packages are already provided by AWS through your Lambda actually. That's why it called it as a serverless. So you can just directly open the Python like Lambda, and you can just start writing. You can use the Boto 3 package, which will help to connect to the AWS to your code, and then you can just create the object. Boto 3 object you can just create for the each resources, and then you can write your script actually. So Lambda you can use for many scripts, like for example, for your like daily you want to stop your instance and start your instance for your cost cutting purpose. So you can just write a Lambda functions. You can just set it as a with event bridge, you can just schedule it actually, and then automatically it will run that code as per your event bridge rule. And then and then what will happen, it will stop your instance or start your instance. So Lambda is also mapped with like integration with so many services, like your SNS notifications, where through Lambda, once your work is done, you can just like kept one SNS notification, where in SNS notification you can integrate with any, connect to any URL or connect to any email ID, so that what will happen, if once your job is done, you can just send notification to that email ID. So it provides multiple integration option as well from Lambda, and you can run maximum 15 minutes, and also it provides multiple language.
Okay, that's good. All right. And can you tell me about Elastic Container Service?
Yeah.
What is that?
So yeah, elastic container service, what it is actually, you need to understand, like there is something called IaaS, okay, which is nothing but infrastructure platform actually. So when you are going, for example, EC2, what will happen, you have to create the entire infrastructure actually. Like in infrastructure means, like you have to create your entire like launch an instance where you will have your CPU, security groups, everything. But in ECS cases, you don't need to create your infrastructure. You are not paying for the infrastructure. You are just creating a container which is helping you to do the similar operations actually.
Okay. And
It is called it as a CAS.
how does ECS differ from EKS?
EKS is actually it provides a like a platform service actually. Like for example, these containers are like too many containers when you are running, it is creating a problems actually. So what it is happening in EKS, there is a concept called fragment, which provides a platform to run this all these containers properly.
Okay. Have you worked in Kubernetes?
No, I haven't worked.
You ever worked in? Okay. And I see from your CV that you worked in cloud formation and infrastructure as code.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain your experience with cloud formation and provide an example of a cloud formation template that you have developed?
Okay. So, cloud formation template, why it is required? Let me first tell you. It's a it's a template in a in a JSON and YAML format programming language. With the help of cloud formation template, you can create multiple resources. For example, in your requirement, you have to create just S3. Okay, then don't go for the cloud formation template, because S3 bucket creation you can do manually easily. But you have to create suppose multiple service at a time. For example, S3, EC2, and SNS, like multiple resources you have to create at a time. If you'll go ahead and do manually, if suppose in a different account or different environment, then it will take a lot of times actually. You have to create one by one actually. So cloud formation template, it provides a infrastructure where you can automate to create these R services, and which you can run dynamically. And you can, if you have to use, you can use the same template in the multiple account as well, multiple environment. You just provide the cloud formation template which user can just run, and it will create all these resources actually.
Okay.
So that is the main target for the cloud formation template.
Can you provide an example of a complex template that you have created? What it did?
Okay. So in our requirement only, in my latest project only, where actually we had to create one mid server role actually. So the that mid server role actually, because I have to create a mid server role, and which I have to do in my account. But client, there I have lot of many accounts. Like some client have 10 accounts, some client have 100 accounts actually. So for that actually, I cannot provide to 100 people or 10 people. So I have just created the cloud formation template, and I have just provided the information like account numbers, and then it will just create that mid server role like in their account actually. And also it provides that it is also mapped with like a different and different so many resources. For example, you have to install some service now packages actually. So for installing the package, I have to I have kept it in a service now in system manager document actually. So document, like people doesn't know how to like run it actually. So with the package details, URL, everything, I have created the system document. So through CloudFormation template, it will automatically install the system manager document, and through system manager document, they just need to fill up the username and password according to their environment basics, so that it will go ahead and install that mid server, a service now mid server in their environment actually.
Okay. Uh, Now you said that you haven't worked in Kubernetes at all. Are you aware of Kubernetes concepts?
Yeah, I have just read only the document actually. I haven't done any time actually.
Okay, but all right, I'll not be asking Kubernetes questions then. Tell me something about, have you worked on Docker?
Yeah, Docker in our project, yes, we have used.
Okay. Can you tell me about the advanced use cases in of Docker in an AWS environment? For example, like multiple Docker container orchestrations. How would you ensure Docker security?
not in advanced level. I have used actually on a, like we used for creating the containers for our AMI integration. Actually, we used, so we like we have our artifact files in like in GitHub actually. So Docker container, what will happen, it will just take those artifact files and then it will store into the S3 bucket, and then from S3 bucket it will just create the CloudFormation template in our like AWS account, and then from there it will run and create the AMIs actually. So
Okay.
to create the artifact files, we have used the Docker.
Okay. Now tell me something about the base pillars of cloud computing. What do you understand by a well architected AWS framework?
Okay, so like um like there are seven like strategy it is there, like refactor, replatform, repurchase, rehashed, relocate, retain, and retired actually. These are the seven labels when you are doing any migrations actually. So these are the seven pillars actually. Refactor is like whenever you are um, whenever you are migrating actually, you have to like create the same environment in the other environment actually. And re-platform is like you are just providing the platform on the on premises you have, so similar platform you are just creating on the other platform actually, in a cloud platform basically. And rehost is actually you are launching it again on the AWS platform from on premises to AWS environment actually. And also retain and retire is actually, for example, on premises you have some features but it is not supported by in cloud environment. So in that time you are just you will just retain those those features actually.
Okay. I think you
So
answered
these are
about
the,
the yeah, I think you answered about the 7 hours of database migration or application migrations. My question was AWS well architected framework. So corresponding to operational excellence, security, reliability, cost optimization, performance efficiency. But but that's okay. All right.
okay.
My next question would be what are the what what is multi-tenancy?
No, not sure.
Okay. Uh, all right. So I, I'll just give you a scenario and let me and you should tell me about what you would do in such a case. So, for example, let's say you are a team lead and a fresher joins your team.
Okay.
So, as the person is a fresher, he or she has not much idea about DevOps and AWS. So, what are the things that you would do to get that person up to speed?
um there will be first I will guide I'll assign some senior person who can just guide him or her, to go through first the document and the trainings actually, which help to gain the knowledge actually, like all the basic knowledge about the AWS and what about the language we are using in our project. And also like if you are using Docker and Kubernetes, I will just tell them to first gain all this training knowledge actually. And also I will just guide to my senior to give her give the person some small work to do a experiment in our account actually. So that what will happen, the person will get hands on with the work. And also whatever the training the person is taking, he'll also do the self experiment, like whatever is learning, whether it's how much exactly the person is getting actually.
Okay. So, in terms of DevOps, what are the tools? that you would ask the fresher to use, so that they can do the CI/CD end to end. I mean, from
So
resource
like
the
we
DevSecOps.
need GitHub, Docker, if you are using Kubernetes, and Ansible if you are using, and Nginx if you are using, and and apart from that our AWS cloud and Python.
Okay. What do you understand by DevSecOps?
No, not sure.
Okay, you haven't heard about DevSecOps. All right. So I'm just trying to go through your CV again. So you said that you have done deployment using Jenkins. Can you tell me about one of the major projects that you have used Jenkins for, and tell me more in detail about the project?
Okay. So Jenkins basically we have used for our like automated job actually to be run. If any commit will happen to the git, any person is committing, so that it will just in Jenkins we have set up the jobs and which will run automatically. If the build is proper, then it will send it. It will do the operation for the next deployment actually. If the build is not proper, then it will send a notifications that build is not proper actually after this particular commit actually. So Jenkins basically we have used for that actually, and it also used for mainly for your checking your automated build and the deployment.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between uh, continuous deployment and continuous delivery?
Continuous deployment is like suppose whenever you are some commits are happening actually, there are multiple resources are doing the commit to the same code actually. So that called it as like an if multiple people are sending the code commit to the same setup file actually, then that is called it as a continuous development, because continuously the development is happening actually, because multiple resources are using to the same set of codes actually. But whereas continuous deployment is the person one has sent some code, and then that went to the build and the deployment has happened, and then again the immediately after some time the person too has sent the code to the same file. So uh, it will again do the deployment. So that called it as a continuous deployment. And if any issue comes, it will again come back, and then again the person has to do the development. So both are happening in the same time. It is not like the person has done set up the code and he left, and after then the testing has happened. After 15 days the person has come, so by the time the person might have forgot what exactly it is doing. And also in this case what will happen, your code are not going in block amount actually, it is just going with small piece of codes. So that we call it as a continuous deployment and development.
And what is continuous delivery?
Delivery is deployment, also we called it as a delivery.
All right.
That is the other name of the continuous deployment.
All right. Now coming back to AWS, what is IAM used for?
I am used for basically for the user actually, like through IAM service you can create the multiple users, and we have something called IAM role and IAM group. So IAM role, what will happen, every user will get a specific roles actually. So in a team, like everybody will not get the administrative access. So when you are give, you can just assign based on their work, you can just give a specific policy to those users, so that they'll be able to access to only to those resources actually. And so roles also you can just assign, like each role will have a different policies. So based on the number of policies, you can just create one role, and that role will be assigned to users actually, and same role can be assigned to a multiple users as well. Whereas actually IAM group actually, like if multiple roles are there, you can just create one group, and then sorry, multiple users are there, and then for users you can just create a group. So if you just give group access, what will happen automatically, it just go to under the group, whoever users are there, it will just go ahead and give the access to those number of peoples actually under that group. So whenever you are like giving an access, you need, for security purpose, you need a IAM access compulsory.
Okay. Now, in a scenario where you are creating a three-tier application, so you've got a web tier, you've got application layer, you've got database. Can you tell me how would you secure an application? What are the best practices that you would take care of so that you ensure that the application is very, very secure?
Okay. So for security, first you need to think your IAM role to give to give the proper access. Okay. Second thing is for security, your security groups and ACLs, you need to give proper IP address access for your app actually. And for the date, any password if you are using, then you need to give secret manager where you can store your passwords to give the security, so that none of no one can see the password, and it will go it as a like your hidden format. And also your security groups, and this one knackle anyway I have already said. And you can use WAF for your any access for the security actually. And also for inspector, you can use for if any vulnerability has been used, like any port you are not supposed to use, and if suppose that port has been used, so you can just set up your like inspector so that it will send a vulnerability. And also you can use guard duty, but for if any resources is out of the it was not supposed to use, or any burn anything is happened to that resource, so that you can use for the guard duty also you can use. So these are the security resources you can just use.
Can you think of anything else?
Mm,
How would you position your app layer and the databases in different subnets?
okay, for subnet what will happen, for public you have to if it is on the public, like auto assigned public, you just need to disable if you if you're not using the public actually. And also in NACL actually you can just give allow and deny inbound and outbound rules actually, so that it will not give it will control the access actually. And also in security groups, your all traffic 000, that you should not give if you are not giving to public access actually. So these are the things you need to make sure on the security and NACL cases.
So you've got your web application, and so you've got the web layer, you've got the app layer, and you've got the database. Which of these would you put in private subnets, and which of these would you put in public subnets?
um, database will be on the private. And also your app few part you have to give it in the public, because app they have to access by the URL. So that you have to give it in a you need to give few part in a public actually.
Okay. And sorry, you said uh, you would put the app layer and the web layer both in public?
Now when now web layer you can just put it in a public, but app you don't need,
Yep.
because through web is enough.
Yep. Sure. All right. Tell me. All right. Let's go back to your CV. So you said that you have worked on AWS and ServiceNow integration.
Yeah.
Can you explain me what was the integration project and what you did?
Okay. So basically, AWS and ServiceNow integration is like how we have to connect from AWS to ServiceNow actually. So we have created like a ServiceNow provides a package actually. So I have created a cloud formation template which which creates an environment through, like it will take the input your ServiceNow package URL, your ServiceNow username and password, and also what is your mid server name actually. So through that cloud formation template it will create a ssm document, and then when I'm running a ssm document, inside that ssm document that document I need to run in one of the ec2 instance actually. So through ec2 instance I'll just go ahead and connect from ssm through ssm document I'll connect to that ec2 instance, and then I have some shell script commands which I will be running in that ec2 instance actually. So that shell script command, what it will do, it will download I'm providing the package url provided by the service now actually, and it will just download those packages. It will connect to ServiceNow using the ServiceNow username and password, and then it will install a mid server name. So and also in the service now, what will happen for in service now, you have to add your account, and also when you are creating this mid server, in that actually you just need to mention like what is the role exactly you are using for connecting controlling to the aws users actually. So that role name you need to provide actually. And also in the aw in the service now, you need to do the onboarding of that account actually. So once you will do onboarding, it will take all this mid server username and password, mid server name, and also im role whatever you have used, and then it will go ahead and connect actually. So this entire design development I did actually.
Okay. All right. Now, one last question. So, tell me about a scenario where you were put on a project where you were initially struggling. You had and how you actually overcame your struggles. It might be about learning a new technology. It might be about learning the complexity of the project.
Okay. Actually, ServiceNow when it came, I was not aware of ServiceNow at all. That was only one of the new technology I need to learn actually. So when this project came, actually, I just like there was no training has happened actually. I went through the online tutorials and connect with some ServiceNow people who are available in our organization. I just connect with them like how they are doing, and based on that I learn it, and then I there's a person in US. I got some design how to do, and then I designed, and then it went to the approval, and then we did the development actually. This was actually one of the biggest challenge actually for me to do. And also one more time there was a challenge in one of the organization where I need to learn the R language actually. They need to convert the entire project from Python to R actually. So they are actually I'm not aware of the R syntax, how exactly it works. So I just went through the online tutorials, and with the help of people, I just converted the migrate the entire project from Python to R language actually.
Okay. Cool. All right. I'm done with my questions, Anuradha. So what I'll do is I'll probably just close this call and I'll tell you my feedback. I'll just pause the recording. Thank you for your
Sure.
time today.
Sure. Thank you.